Hey everybody, thanks for joining. It's Saturday. I'm a little bit late because there's so much stuff to share and dig into, so thank you all for coming. Let me make sure I have everything sorted here. Hope I do, and I want to pop out the chat because I'm on my own. Investing KO, thanks for coming. And TND Tesla, thank you for being in the chat. And I see Jeff Hammer, as always, a legend. And Andy in Australia. The Australians are up. Thank you all for coming. Let's chat about a whole bunch of stuff. And again, I have yet more price targets because I will be doing an updated retire on. We have somebody here in the chat saying, is even 0.1 of a Bitcoin worth it? We'll talk about that today as well with a ton of new information. So, crypto market cap 2.65 trillion, down a little bit. It was 2.7 trillion not too long ago. Volume, slight. Bitcoin in the super tight trading range for 3 days now. It's kind of almost manipulated. But big things are happening behind the scenes that may not meet the eye. What else? Ethereum about 3,500 and Fear and Greed about 76. And let's jump in and this is edutainment. And shout out to Nathaniel and Mossy. May you rest in peace. He lost his puppy. And I will move on very fast or else I get emotional. Anyway, this week in crypto, Bitcoin, everything divided by Bitcoin, you can see a lot of green across the board on the alt side. ETH up 5%, Solana up about 5%, Cardano up about 5%, a lot of stuff up 5%. Binance down a little bit. We'll talk a bit about some of the changes there as well. In dollar terms, literally 2 weeks now I've been doing this. Well, I do it every day. But for 2 weeks, Bitcoin has been very stable at that 70K level. It's bizarre. So it up, took a big dip, down to 62, 61, back up to 68, then hovering around 70 for weeks now, with some undulations, of course, and they are to be taken advantage of. What else is going on here? Yeah, a couple of pieces of dark green as well, and that's it. But let's get into more of the fun stuff. What's happening behind the scenes? So Mr. 100 was off for about 3 days, and then came in and bought 800 Bitcoin in 24 hours. Well, 766 to be precise. But the crazy thing is, Mr. 100 is called Mr. 100 because they buy 100 Bitcoin at a time. But over the last 24 hours, they were not able to do that. They had to buy chunks. 61, 18, 24, 8, 7, 40, 14, 19. And this tells me, I don't know, but it might be a little bit harder to buy 100 Bitcoin blocks nowadays. But anyway, that's a massive spend, nearly 800 Bitcoin in a day. Okay? Now, people say, ooh, should it be called Mr. 700 now? Mr. 800? Who knows? And the question is, who is it? We're not sure yet. But it's somebody with a lot of money. And by the way, they've made over $2 billion on their purchases in 4 months. Not bad. That's an oversimplified DCA strategy. So let's talk about this year. Let me see, make sure everything's okay. And everybody hears me okay. Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, this also happened in the last 24 hours. Shout out to Marty Party. You can see here, Marty Party's on everything, by the way, on Twitter. So a really good follow. But someone bought 15,519 Bitcoin at $70,000 for $1.1 billion on Bybit. That is a big, big bag. A couple of crazy things about this too is the fee for it, at least for this transfer or the move or whatever the hell it was, purchase, was $17 for $1.1 billion to move that around. Anyway, weird stuff is happening. We can't quite put our finger on it, but there's a lot of activity. And people know the Bitcoin price will go up after the halving. It might be a little bit volatile between now and then, but we'll see. Then this happened. Okay, Matt Haugen from Bitwise came out. I hope I said that right. Posited that even a very modest average allocation of 1% from global institutions, 1%, global institutions could result in $1 trillion entering into the Bitcoin ETFs. $1 trillion. And of course, what am I going to do? I'm going to ask myself, what happens if $1 trillion comes into the Bitcoin space? Yes, the market cap is over $1 trillion, but what is the impact on price if an extra trillion comes in? And of course, we have our multiplier for that. So here we go. I ran a couple of scenarios. I ran my 21x multiplier, which goes back to, coincidentally, 2021. That's nothing to do with the year. It's what I calculated way back when, nearly 4 years ago, the impact of Tesla buying $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, what that did to the price. Now, if we take 21 as a multiplier, the first column there, the Bitcoin price goes to, it's bonkers, $1.4 million. If we take 56, which is my pre-halving multiplier, today, $3.7 million. And if we go to 112, the post-halving multiplier, be $7.5 million. Yes, I know these numbers are idiotic. But the question was before, does having 0.1 of a Bitcoin matter? Well, if Bitwise CEO is correct, even half correct, this thing is going to the millions. The question is when, how long that'll take. So that's the crazy stuff as well. So let's look at another cool thing. And again, what I do is I'm building tons and tons of price prediction models, and I'm going to simulate them all together, make a composite score, allocate weightings, and that's going to be part of my future price predictions too for the new Retire On update for Bitcoin that you're all asking for. So first of all here, this cool chart got my attention from Charts BTC. Now, what's interesting about this, he has graphically done what I did before in a table, but I much prefer the visual of the graphic. So shout out to Charts BTC for doing that. Make it very clear. Now, this could be the wrong vernacular. It's what I use. If you look at top to top, you get certain multipliers. Like you went from 32 to 1242, that's a 36x. And then the next top to top was a 17x. And the next top to top was a 3.5x. But a lot of people believe the head was chopped off that top because of manipulation. So we went from 19,666 to 69K. Now, the next thing is if we go from the halving price to the second halving price and take that multiple, it was 55, then it was 13, and then it's 8 so far, and we're not finished yet. We got about 19 days to go. Very little time. The question is, what happens if you extrapolate this out to future price? That's the question I asked myself. So, first thing I did was this. This is the history of multiples and top to top and the price prediction we get to. Again, if history repeats, but remember, this time is different because we have a harder currency, far less stock to flow, and a lot more money. So it's like a double perfect storm. But here you can see the ratio between the sequences of the consecutive terms would take us to 1.65 using a polynomial sequence. That's it. So 1.65 times 69K, the previous top, will take us to $113,850, which, again, if you take the bottom of 15K, that's nearly a 10x, which is a crazy return. But I know a lot of people think, oh, only 113K. Well, I'm going to take that and modify it again, because this time is different, and because the head will not be chopped off this time. Maybe those top-to-top multipliers are a little bit different. I hope you're tracking with me here. So I created another version. I created another polynomial sequence, but from the bottom to bottom to the top to top. So here, I hope I'm not losing anybody. So the bottom to halving multiples started at going from 55 to 13, and then so far we're at 8. All right, if you divide that by all and you extrapolate it forward, that will give us a 2.153 multiplier if it follows the same sequence for the top. 2.153 times 69K is 148,557. Either way, we're going to be definitely somewhere between 113 and 150K based on history, except it's a lot harder and there's a lot more money coming in. So that's exciting. And I jot all these down. I've got a massive spreadsheet with all my pricing models for all assets, and you'll see the summary of them all soon, because in the Bitcoin Daily, I've been doing a ton of them too, at least 3 to 4 a week. Now I've got about 16 new price predictions. Thank you, Ben, for coming. Now let's look at some crypto news as well. Some interesting stuff happening there. L1s, L2s this week. Sorry, it's a bit of an eye chart, but the 1 year change for crypto, going back the last 12 months, is 1,611% to the winner, Solana, by far. For, let me see, stable coins, it's Aptos. No, stable coins is Optimism. Excuse my eyes. Stablecoin volume is optimism. Developers, Avalanche, daily active users, Solana, and daily transactions is near protocol. So that's kind of like a quick summary of what's going on with the chains. But the adoption has been massive. We'll talk more about how that could get us to our path to 1 billion users soon too. Now, this is a cool little chart that I found very interesting because for those of you who've been around a long time, they'll know Block Wars Part 1 and what caused a lot of consternation in the Bitcoin space, and it caused some Bitcoin forks into fake Bitcoins, but we'll leave that for now. But this is from David Hoffman. And you can see here there are two different tribe alignments here. Alliances form when roles aren't competed with. And I like that. So you have on the top, you've got Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay, small blocks. And on the bottom, you got large blocks. You got Celestia and you have Solana. The question is, what will happen next? So for example, Bitcoin money, base layer, perhaps, plus Solana execution could be a killer combo. I believe in. Then you have ETH and Celestia. ETH is also, some people think, super sound money, plus L2 execution. And not saying Celestia is an L2, but Celestia supports L2s. And that's basically how that's architected. But what I found interesting, per Occam's razor, if there's a way of having Solana be execution layer for Bitcoin, that could change the whole game of crypto entirely. Either way, we'll find out more in the next couple of weeks as to how that will be possible going forward. A truly scalable solution that is widely adopted using Bitcoin as the base layer of money. Something I've been excited about for a very long time. I'm just hoping we can get close to pulling it off. More on that later. Now, other stuff has happened. A lot of people now fear that the Grayscale Ethereum trust will not be converted into an ETF. And guess what happened to the discount for a discount model? Whack! 22.13%. Now, I did buy that Grayscale Ethereum at a 55% discount, actually right after I discovered it was so high on a DCA, live on TV, many, many months ago. It went all the way down to 10%. I said I would sell it at 10%. I did, got out of the position, and now it's back to 22%. So if that goes a little bit higher, we might get the little ARB opportunity again. So we'll watch that space carefully. In other fun news too, this is a cool little chart from Econometrics. And what it shows you visually is how the markets work. And Bitcoin always runs first, Ethereum runs second, and then the altcoins run third. And the altcoins run oftentimes a lot faster and higher. What this graphic represents is the amount of crypto market cap as a percentage. So for example, Bitcoin in orange is about 52% now. Ethereum is about 15 or 16%, and the rest of the market is made up of that blue. The question is, what will happen next? When will it happen? Or is this time different? I think this time is different because we've already seen many cool so-called altcoins with very good product market fit run a lot faster than other names. So we'll see. Either way, even if you imagine Bitcoin runs first, ETH second, that means there's a lot more upside for some of these altcoins too, which will be mind-blowing to think about. Anyhow, I did have a question about 6 weeks ago on the live Q&A, which is tomorrow, and I take the questions from the community, and people ask me why I didn't invest in Tau, even though I love AI. And the answer was a whole bunch of things. Well, compendium score kills it out of the gate, and that's why we built that model. But it's good to see Eric Wall here talking about the complete uselessness of Tau. It's truly spectacular. $10 billion market cap for an AI coin, and it actually does nothing. So the reason I share this is not to say I told you so, but to say be careful out there. Or remember, I used to say 98% of crypto is a scam. That's now probably 99.5%. Be careful what you invest in. And remember the rules. If it's pumped hard, you don't even have to do a deep dive. And I can tell because all the YouTube comments pumping all these different coins, and I watch all the comments, I can tell when something is a scam. And then when YouTubers pump this stuff as well, it's probably a scam because they're paid to pump it. And then when the compendium score is terrible, there you go. That's all you need to know. So just be careful. Your money is very precious. It takes a lifetime to make it and a second to lose it. So just go into every project reminding yourself there's a 99% chance this is a scam. then you'll do a lot better as an investor. That's what I do. Now, speaking of investments, this is the list of crypto fees as of yesterday for all the top chains. Number 1, 11.2 million is Ethereum. Number 2, for the first time ever, Solana, nearly $3 million in daily fees. Insane. Smoking Bitcoin, which Solana used to be just a tiny, teeny fraction of what Bitcoin does and Ethereum does. Now it's more than Bitcoin. It's more than Base. By the way, Base has gone from obscurity to 1.4 million in fees. Even Binance used to do millions in fees. Now it's only doing 980,000 a day. So that is crazy to see. And the reason for this is adoption. Massive adoption. Daily active users. Solana also. Not only does Solana do a lot more fees than Binance now, but it also has a lot more users. So daily active users for Binance is 1.3 million, and it's nearly 1.7 million now for Solana. And the chain is plugging along. Touch wood, I hope it keeps plugging along. Matic is there in third. Layer 2 on Ethereum, 1.1 million. And then Bitcoin, 512,000. ETH, 480,000. And you can go on down the line. And by the way, if you're interested in seeing if you do own any of these other tokens, take a screenshot or pause the video, look up your asset here, and that'll tell you where they're going in the future. And remember, hope is not a strategy. I'm not here to pump you anything. I'm here to help you make money. Okay? It's my only agenda. That's it. Now, speaking of, this came from the head of Masari, or VP of Research, believes that meme coins are the next Trojan horse for crypto adoption. And I have been talking about it for a long time. What is the catalyst to drive 1 billion people to crypto? I thought it would have been payments. Wow. What happens if it's actually meme coins? That would be bonkers. And again, as I discussed yesterday with Mert, he and I both believe meme coins are actually good because they are hardening the system. They're battle testing the system for real-world assets and DEXs and true scalability and all that type of stuff. Ironing out the bugs with memes, which is awesome. Speaking of money too, massive money is coming to Solana over the next couple of days, starting on April 3rd or 4th. There are 8 new projects that have massive airdrops coming. So everybody who is in the Solana ecosystem is going to be a lot richer in a few days, and it's going to be a very nice April. So think of this as your Easter egg. Easter, because I think it's Easter as well. And Wormhole is the first one to hit April 3rd. So technically 3 or 4 days from now. Claim date is there if you've been active, etc., etc. It'll be good. Don't forget to claim your tokens and be careful of scam tokens. Always check the legitimate address. Check Solana FM. Check birdeye.so. Check Deck Screener. Check Whales Market. There's so many sources that we've gone through to make sure it's legitimate. And do not click anything in your Phantom wallet or whatever wallet you use. Okay? Check it first. Now, other scary stuff happening in the cryptoverse. Before we get some really good Tesla news, by the way, Kucoin withdrawals hit 1.7 billion this week. A lot of fear about criminal charges. Remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. When this type of stuff happens, you pull your stuff off as quickly as possible. So it's good to see people are a lot more careful this time around. Now let's talk about Tesla EV numbers. There's a couple of things happened this week too, which are kind of a breakthrough. First of all, if you read mainstream media, you will believe that EV sales are slowing. But no, Tesla just hit a 6 million car milestone. I think they hit 5 million cars 6 months ago. That's how fast they are growing and they are scaling. And they are spitting, literally, from what I can tell, Cybertrucks out of the factory now every 40 seconds or so. So they're actually ramped that. They'll easily be able to do 50 to 75,000 of those things a year. And it'll become, overnight, from launch, the best-selling EV ever. And the quickest ramped EV. And also the most technologically sophisticated car on the planet that nobody gets. Now let's check this out. So first of all, Q1 was a nightmare. I mean, from the Red Sea delays that shut down Berlin for 2 weeks, and then arson attack, shutting down Berlin for another week or so. It's just been terrible. And Q1 is very slow, Chinese New Year stuff, etc. But still, given all of that, the production still looks like it's about 424,673 to 430,000 cars by back of a napkin estimate, given the breadcrumb of they are now at 6 million vehicles produced. Because we know 6 months ago they did 5.5 million. 5 million, sorry. So that's 1 million cars in 6 months. New. Why every other competitor other than BYD is retracing. So that's fun news there too. And excuse me, shout out as well. I want to just bring up one thing. These things are out of sequence here, but Dan Ives did get on TV and he spoke about a couple of things. Yes, it would be a nightmare quarter, but the good news is the price has been low, and we know Tesla falls on earnings reports. But the question is, could this time be different? I don't know. But again, a very, very bumpy Q1. But he also believes the ChatGPT moment is here. So do many other experts like Brad Gerstner and others. And people that don't have FSD 12.3.2. I should have it, by the way. I don't have it. And I think one of the problems is because I don't drive my car, because I never leave. So that's a big issue. Hopefully I'll get mine this weekend. But Josh in the community, one of our cool members, just drove his 12.3 and his jaw is on the floor. And Josh is not given to hyperbole. So shout out to Josh as well. And final thing, before I let you go and go back to prepare for Q&A tomorrow, the C19 excess savings are almost gone. Okay. This is all the money the people, they basically have saved up $2.1 trillion by August 2021. That is now depleted completely, which means now that savings are gone, going forward, it'll be very hard for the labor market to keep consumption going strong. Therefore, people don't have any money, consumption will tank, the government will have to start printing money. We expect that. We know it's happening in a stealth way anyway, but it's about to go into high gear, ladies and gentlemen, and that will inflate all of our assets, just like these big, I love this picture of these balloons. Like these balloons, everything will inflate and float higher, okay? So good times ahead. Stay healthy, my friends. We're going to have a great 2024. Not that it hasn't been already. I mean, Bitcoin went from like 30K or something to 70 as we speak. In fact, what is the price this week? Wow, we're $50 away from 70K again. Again, it's in that very tight range. Not much happening. Happy Easter, everybody. Thank you all for coming, and I'll see you all tomorrow at noon Pacific. So that will be 22 hours from now. Thanks all. Thank you, Citizen Jewel Sport, as well. And to T&D Tesla for being here, keeping us all safe. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.